The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't look like he knows what that means. This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. The other one laughs as well. Wow, so intellectually stimulating. The stone kicking isn't even of very high caliber.
Hello, mister. It's Lammy.
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has...
Yes, very soft. Isn't he soft? Bye!
Is that the phasmid? It looks like the phasmid, leaning against the wall. It's not the phasmid. It's not even organic. It's a fire iron. How disappointing. Right? You'll have better luck next time, though. The phasmid, finding it is your destiny. All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising. Accommodations for their insectoid inhabitants.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well. Yes, I feel we are nearing a real breakthrough. If anything, the presence of the locust points to the opposite. The phasmid did not take the bait from the traps. It was Cuno. The phasmid doesn't exist, but what do I know?
Use your powers of deduction. You knew the magic.
I'll let you handle the Cuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
You missed a good show before. A kid came by and completely fucked the tree to pieces.
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was porno!
You need to act decisively. It's Cuno. Use Cuno words.
Cuno! He's trying to crawl up your...
Cuno knows which Kypt Cuno meant. Cuno knows all the Kypt. Cuno's dad's a Kypt expert. Says Kypt every day. 100 times a day. Cuno's dad doesn't give a shit about anything.
Trying to crawl out of Cuno's ass now.
Yeah? The fuck did you want anyway? You got your fuck bag down? Yeah. Cuno took the bugs. So what?
So it wasn't the phasmid. A wave of disappointment washes over you.
Yeah, well, Cuno's all you got, bitch. It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends.
Stop!
You stop. It's like they're fucking night. Locust City, Night City, City of Rage.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his imagination. The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort. The lameness is causing her physical pain. The damage may be permanent.
Cuno, the pig wants to help you. Oh, that's how lame it is. Please just don't say you're...
An artist? Maybe I am an artist. You hear that, everyone? I'm a fucking artist now.
Did he just say I? Cuno usually calls Cuno, Cuno.
Oh my god, Cuno! He's gonna make you totally lame in, like, 3 seconds. Don't let him, Cuno.
Yo, fuck you, see? Cuno can be what Cuno wants to be. Cuno's his own man. Cuno's free. Cuno made himself into Cuno. Cuno can make himself into anything. Cuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Cuno can make himself into a... Cuno doesn't give a shit.
Don't make yourself into a pig, Cuno. You'll have to take me away.
In it, you hear snow melting, dripping from the eaves. Someone closing a window. So that's what this is about. Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
Cuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. It don't mean anything. It's shit. Cuno just likes to focus. Cuno likes to concentrate on shit. Build shit when he's zipping hard. Fuck. Pig, you really shouldn't have fucked with Cuno City. Now it's all fucking lame. I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. She was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence. Just long enough to make eye contact with Cuno.
The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps?
He recognizes the name.
Bitches think Cuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Cuno's tired of this shit.
As you leave, you notice his usual rooster-like swaying posture has changed. Slowed down, like clockwork unwinding. There's silence between the two children. They're not saying anything to each other, nor looking in each other's direction. see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. No, these tracks are not interesting at all. Let the street sweeper just sweep them away.
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. A new trap design, that is. So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. A hidden worry. Something is secretly gnawing at her confidence. It's not this Cuno kid or the missing locusts. It's something else.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
He has a 38-degree fever. His resilience has given way.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
You're right, you're right. We can come back next season, when it's warmer.
He's right, dear Morell. Come now, we've waited so long. What's one more season?
Self-deceit, sire.
You're right, dear. We'll get our shot yet. I'm sure of it.
The slouch in his shoulders tells you otherwise. He doesn't know how many more field expeditions he has left in him.
This place is much better for fieldwork in the summer, believe me.
Is that a pang of sadness, Lieutenant?
Thank you, dear. And you, Detective Fox? You've been great company to an old lady and her stubborn husband.
You're right, Lena. The RCM is worth their salt. More so than they say on the radio.
Goodbye.
it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Very good. That will be 7 real for 1 custom die. Here's the cursed die you ordered. It's a die. Try rolling it.
You throw the ball on the floor, and it ends with one of the phrases facing upwards. God is indifferent.
Good. Now roll again, detective.
It lands on exactly the same result. God is indifferent. It declares again.
It's a sphere pretending to be a 6-sided die. Each roll will end with one of the phrases facing up. The die originates in Ilmara, where it was used for cleromancy. Except I've weighted the die. When you try rolling it, you realize that each time it gets you exactly the same result. God is indifferent. This is our curse.
It's even worse than she says. God is dead. We live in a forsaken age.
Good luck, officer.
A gust of cold air sweeps through the chimney. The stones and minerals on the shelves rattle as though agitated. For a moment, it almost feels as though you're outside the building, exposed to the atmosphere.
Didn't we already talk about this? What are you talking about? My address is exactly the same. Rue de Saint-Guilain 10.
No, the old coal plant that used to be here was subsumed into the new venture. Its ruins swallowed up, yet it has a different address in the heart of the city.
This doesn't make any sense. Are you saying my business was spared because of a technicality? Where is this coming from? You're right. I should take a trip to the roof once the snow is gone. Does it mean that I'm safe from failure?
Don't let her become complacent. She still needs to ward her soul against the evil forces. She starts laughing, her fingers trying to rub away the exhaustion from her face.
Do you know what this is? It's a mourning ring. I made this when my first company failed. It was a small jewelry shop right here in the East Delta Commerce Center, built with the little I inherited from my parents. I drove it into the ground within a year. I didn't have what you would call a viable business plan. It wasn't just the jewelry shop either. I always thought that it was just the world that you were supposed to try again and again until you finally succeed. And now you're telling me what? That it was all because I didn't run my little shops and ventures from a dump inside an abandoned chimney? Yeah. Or maybe it's the entire world that's cursed. It's such a precarious place. Nothing ever works out the way you want it. That's why people like role-playing games. You can be whoever you want to be, you can try again. Still, There is something inherently violent even about dice rolls. It's like every time you cast a die, something disappears. Some alternative ending or an entirely different world. But anyway, thanks for sharing your theories, officer. I'm listening. Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She liked them.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral. They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. The usual. They ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic. And
Showing up to work on time is hard. No, scratch that. Showing up to work at all is difficult, especially if you've been drinking.
And so is producing something extraordinary.
Something strains her face before she looks up again.
Anything else? Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. You manage to hoist it off the ground, but the barbell feels wobbly and dangerous. Your hands slick with sweat. Turns out you're no beast, just an old man with bad form. See? See? This place is cursed. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to smash through that back door.
Proper weightlifting gloves would definitely afford a better grip.
Yes, what is it?
What? What did you say? I can't hear you! The music is too loud! Oh, the project! It's not going well! There's that guy! I need him to plug a 3.5 cable into the auxiliary input so that I can route the audio signal through the mixer into the speakers. He doesn't listen to me! He only ever seems to care about hardcore and Yekukata! A place to be, apparently! Thanks! Maybe you can get through his magic rhymes! Let me know how it goes!
Denarian Church! The place to be! Make some noise, my church people!
Vibrations thump through your blue soul. The music sounds much better in the church. A hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gilles Lane, tangled in its branches, something bronze flutters in the wind. He stands on stage behind a table, nodding along to the music and waving his hand in the air. In front of him, the audio mixer, one reel spinning. The other reel deck is empty. Cables run hither and thither. On one side you see an auxiliary line in with the number 4.5 written next.
Yeah! Back on the case! No disgrace! Bring it down to party place! The first page of the second chapter!
Could it be? Maybe for him. You only have a chapter or two left in you. Last of the penultimate, more like.
To the mega! Yeah! I can route it through auxiliary! What kind of a cable does she use? 3.5 or 4.5? Oh, she uses 3.5. Yeah. The auxiliary lining is 4.5 millimeter. These two don't mix.
Oh no, we're going to be in this church forever.
Don't worry, I have an adapter for it right here. Hang on, this is a 4.5. We're all good, people!
Whoa, thank God. Adapters noticeably degrade the sound quality.
Great! Someone got through to him! Okay, let's get it all set up. Can we turn the music off, please?
Everybody! Everybody! Don't panic! I'm going to turn off the on-off for just a sec. For a special scheduled event. The on-off will be back, but we're doing something else for one moment. Alright, go tell her that Egghead is ready to rave to her tunes. And then I'll turn off the music.
Yes, what is it?
Okay, but think you can ask him to turn the volume down a bit? Just in case.
Maximum! Maximum is the only way!
I know it is, but could you please turn it down just this instance? Just this one time? Maximum is not the only way, okay?
Pump it to the brick! Pump it to the hard master! There's no other way! Glue style!
Glue style? Okay, there literally is no other way. The mixing desk is glued to maximum.
See? He pumps it to the Heart Master. It's hopeless. Of course it is.
Yeah! Permanent enlightenment! Ray of sound!
Never mind then. Let's get on with our project. I'm going to unmute the speakers on a count of 5. Everyone ready?
Egghead pumps his hand up in the air, waiting for the beat to drop.
Born ready. Ready.
I'm ready if you two are detectives.
The lieutenant nods stoically. Suddenly, your palms are sweaty. The church seems cold and large, somehow.
What? No, we should definitely do this. I am going to do this. Ready?
Her hand is trembling slightly.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mute disengaged.
No wind outside, no waves, no floorboards creaking. Total, continuous silence. This is unnatural. The woman looks around. In the silence, you see dust move on the floorboards. The driver of the speaker vibrates in the air and then stops. Plasterwork begins to crumble down the walls. In the silence, a low hum starts creeping up your spine. It's a song inside you, not in the speakers, not in the room. A great bass sigh in the basement of your mind. Slowly, it builds until the air around you starts to vibrate. It's out there now, in the world, made manifest. It will devour everything. The floorboards, the glass, the streets and the people. Nothing will remain.
Guys, what's going on? It's getting louder.
In the basins, the water looks like it's boiling.
Hosiana! Mother of Mega!
In his mind, a tidal wave approaching from afar, swallowing entire coastlines on its way. Salvation. He's peaking. The worst high he's ever been on.
The beauty and the beat! The future of dance! Planetary!
No, Egg! It's the window!
In the corner of your eye, the lieutenant steps aside, cautiously, his eyes searching for a possible evacuation route.
The window is going to come down. No, the roof!
Cracks appear on the stained glass window. Cracks run up the wooden pillars in the dark.
Come down to earth! Love!
Below it, all the base grows, like the jaws of a giant compressor gnawing on metal and wood. It does not sound benevolent at all. It's shaking the building's foundation. The floor twists, a great pulse arises in your flesh.
That's it. I'm muting it.
To feel the heat with somebody!
Shit! It doesn't stop. Acele, have you?
Yes, I've turned it off. Andre, pull the compressor. The place is gonna come down.
Fuck! I can't shut it up. The signal's passed. It's not in here.
In the mixing desk now, building into a positive feedback loop. This is it. A great roar. The vault of the roof twists above you. Glass shatters somewhere near the door. And then it stops. Totally and utterly. As if there never was a sound. Only your ears still ring from the shock. Everybody is staring at Egghead, holding a dangling cable in his hand. A black 3-pin connector.
Egg.
I pulled the plug. It was getting too hardcore.
You did good, Egg. Most of the place seems to be intact. Fucking hell. Programmer lady, tell me you were recording that.
4 years. 22 people. Millions of reals. All that time? This is what we were up against. Just erased it. Suliswolf isn't gonna believe this.
Yeah, but did you record it though? It was dope. I think we can use it.
Yes, Andre. I recorded it. Damn, I need to send some letters now. Thank you all for doing this. Eggman, you too. And you, officer. I don't know what we've discovered, but I know what it sounds like now. That's a start. It was mathematical information from the anomaly, presented as a waveform. That's what it was technically. Theoretically, I have no idea. I've never even heard of anything like this.
A voice seems muffled in the silent church. It's your ears adjusting after the exposure.
It was very hard not to. I think you're right. There is something going on here. And you need to be very careful with it.
I promise, officer. We will not play it again. Yes, our lead designer. And maybe some of the producers too. And some of the writers. If they're sober enough to open a transmission. They need to hear.
That it wasn't her fault. Or theirs.
They need to hear about this. Don't worry, I won't send the recording. Although I doubt they have the speakers to produce the frequency anyway. Stay here! I'm going to stay here with these lunatics. Send letters, maybe meet Suliswolf. Also devise further measurements.
I want you to know that's totally chill with us.
I don't care, but thank you anyway.
That's the best she can manage for Andre. It's quite a lot in truth. For her, at least.
Now, I have a theory to come up with. Some kind of preliminary explanation to all this. Or the letter will sound like I've lost my mind.
Yes, and we have to get back to stabilizing Martinez. Instead of demolishing it with loud bass noise of unknown origins.
Some tiny hard thing lets go in your stomach. You're still alive. You have an explanation for all this. Somewhere deep in you. You just don't have the pieces yet. You don't know enough about the world. But that Joyce, if you knew all she knows, could put it together.
You're asking me to circuit bend onto coalition radio frequencies. You want to know, is it possible? Probably. But is it a good idea? I'm not so sure. The main difficulty will be finding an antenna powerful enough to reach those frequencies. Unfortunately, you can't exactly buy mega long-wave antennas off the shelf.
She's not joking. Even the RCM has to receive special approval from the Coalition to access that kind of equipment.
I highly doubt it. That tower is barely able to transmit shortwave signals across the bay. To generate mega low frequencies, we're going to need a much larger antenna.
She has an idea, though. You can see the tiny signal lights firing inside her brain.
I don't see any alternative. We're just going to have to build the antenna ourselves. We need metal, a lot of it. The taller the structure, the better. Something that is both prominent and easily accessible. If it's near a power source, even better.
Close your eyes. Unfold your mental map of Martinez. It's morning. You're standing on the plaza before the whirling in rags. The wind pushes a piece of tear across the cracked tiles. From the north comes the malicious laughter of two children. You turn around. The morning sun is blinding. You bring your hand to your brow, and a great shadow materializes before you. A towering beast, frozen in mid-air.
The dead king and his horse. It could work.
It may work, you think, but why do you feel like there may be a terrible cost?
We'll need an adequate power supply and a great quantity of cable. If we connect the cables to some of the stranded lorries, we could theoretically increase the antenna's wavelength exponentially.
Whatever ambivalence she had about your project before, she's now fully engaged in solving this technical puzzle.
It's completely ridiculous, but I believe we could transform the entire roundabout into one solid fractal antenna.
A note of awe in her voice. She's shocked and pleased by her own audacity.
Yes, very likely the largest private antenna in Revachol.
I have plenty of cables and amplifiers on hand. The power supply I will secure on my own. All we require now is the radio transceiver itself. I cannot answer that for you, but I don't expect it to be that difficult. There's no shortage of radios around here. If you have real to spare, you might even be able to buy one. But it doesn't really matter where it comes from, so long as it works.
And before you ask, no, you can't have the radio from my kinema.
That sounds like a perfectly adequate radio. Certainly, though it requires a fair amount of technical finesse to remove them. Frankly, it's not worth the bother. Just find a regular radio. Absolutely not. My reign prefect is my livelihood. If something were to go wrong, it would be a disaster. Possibly. It's worth a look at the list. In the meantime, I will gather the rest of the materials. We will meet back here when you have it.
She's whistling a melody, her trusty contact mic attached to a wooden pulpit. At the sound of your footsteps, she stops what she was doing and turns to you.
Hey there. I've been recording some new audio from all these beams and rafters. The sounds travelling through the wood are pretty cool. Creaks and stuff. Like you're underwater, you know? But like, underwater inside a tree. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to thank you instead. For getting me and my friends in here. And we even found some new associates, such as they are. Good, I think. Noid is getting a read on the place. I think he finds the carpentry very impressive. Andre's been setting up the compressor and dancing. Egghead's been keeping the party up. He's got the stage under control. Soona, the programmer, she's doing whatever she does behind that radio computer of hers. She doesn't talk to us much, and the crab man hasn't shown himself, thank God. Sure, you helped us out. I can repay the favour. What do you want to know? Oh, the crab man. Still gives me the creeps the way he moves. But he doesn't actually come down that much, just climbs around the rafters. I just tried to stay away from the crab man, but he talks to Noid. They seem to have some thing going on. Beats me. Noid said they get along somehow. They're both crazy enough, I guess.
Who knows? He doesn't really answer our questions, see? Not that it's easy to ask them. What are we supposed to do, yell up at the tower? Who do you want to know about? Andre? He's a cool guy. Doesn't really come off as one, but he is. To me, at least. He takes care of shit. Sorry. I mean, he's got a vision. For what life should be, you know? He tries to push things until everything falls into place. He's an organiser. Nothing. But then again, there's nothing to organise around here either. He really wants this church thing to work. Must have taken it as a sign when he found it abandoned like that. Said it was an augury. I don't know where he got that from. Andre's not super intelligent. I've never seen him so psyched about anything though. And he's often psyched. Looks sort of desperate, like it's his last chance or something. Or maybe he was just high. I mean, not that he does drugs, just high, you know. Yes. Anyway. Yes. Who do you want to know about? He's a four-burger, I guess, like the rest of us. Okay, maybe not Egg, I don't know about him, but Noid and the rest are from Forburg, making the pilgrimage up north to visit the Elysium. He's real hardcore about the lifestyle. It's just something poor Forburg kids do every spring. To pass the time, we walk the entire length of Boogie Street, up to Jamrock, or as much as possible. I don't know, man. Have you been down Boogie Street? It's a little bewildering. Okay, then you should go and take a look, I guess. Boogie Street is cool. It's got a lot of immigrants and all kinds of different people. Yeah, I hope you do. What do you mean, do? Like for a living? He's a carpenter, trained and all. He's very good, he just doesn't have the mindset to work like that, in a shop somewhere. He abides by the hardcore, sir. You would have to ask him yourself. Sir, I abide by the law.
A strange feeling. Every now and then, something feels off about the way she speaks. She doesn't change tone, but you feel as though there's more about her than she lets on.
Who do you want to know about? What do you mean? Oh, that. He's the party boy. Anodic music doesn't really do vocals in the traditional sense. Vocals are thought of as rock. That's to say they're a bit backward. No offence if you like rock music though. Rock music's cool by me.
Pachoo, pachoo, swish. Your credentials as the resident future man of Revachol are being questioned. Show her you're hip with the times, Gramps.
Anyway, even if you don't have vocals, you still need someone to say something every now and then, right? To urge things on. That's where the party boy comes in. He basically just stands on the stage and dances and yells how awesome everything is. It's very catchy.
I understand. People are usually afraid to do things if others aren't already doing them. Dancing makes you dance, like sneezing makes you sneeze, or yawning makes you... Anyway.
Actually, we don't know where he's from, or who he is, really. One time we were out partying somewhere in backwater Forburg. Or maybe even Coal City, I can't remember. Maybe it was Coal City.
The worst of the banlieues. A wretched heap of closed-down mines, even west of Jamrock, on the dusty slope of Montmartin, the remotest possible area of Revachol. No one even wants to exploit those people anymore.
Egg was yelling along to some jam someone was spinning, all night long. Just kept yelling until he didn't have a shred of voice left. When the sun came up over the mines. There were mines? Yeah, it was in Coal City. Egg came with us. He made this wheezing puppy dog sound all the way back. couldn't even speak. It was definitely Coal City, because it took us 2 days to walk back to the fort. He just wheezed the whole way. We never really asked why he came with us, or who he was. I think his name is Jermaine. People are sweet.
You can see it must have been a great night. The memory causes her to go silent for a moment or two. You wish you'd been there.
Who do you want to know about? Me? Again? I told you, I'm a silver bird.
There's that phrase again. Really reminds you of something.
It means I don't answer questions about myself. All right. There is. Thank you. Ah, she's a bit odd, I have to say. Doesn't talk much. I'm not really sure how to vibe with her, you know? Seems like she's not in a very good mood most of the time. But earlier today, she told me about Welkins. And she seemed oddly happy, like she had some idea with those little creatures. Some artistic idea. I didn't really listen, I was busy with my mic. Sure.
The silver bird has already flown away. I will catch it later.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
The silver bird has already flown.
You got us in, cop. I can't believe you got us in.
With wonder in his sharp eyes.
Between you and me, I don't know if you've noticed this about me. I'm a little suspicious of authority. But you really came through for the hardcore underground.
Yes, you really came through for the hardcore underground. How come?
Andre is busy cutting some slightly less lame, but still quite ungainly shapes on the church floor, sweating profusely. Acele using her contact mic to listen to a tree underwater. The one with the large head is blasting the dance track on repeat, while the stained glass window behind him is rattling from the base. Sire, the tent. 'Twas a security risk. And in here, sanctuary. 'Twas only noble of you.
Okay.
What he means is, you can't possibly have handed them this real estate for such a flimsy reason. Then again, whatever keeps your nose out of the bottle and on the job.
The Crabman's been lurking here for a while. He's experienced things. Things that give off bad signs. As far as we can tell, the Ubies built this place about 320 years ago as a sarcophagus. Not like a literal sarcophagus. I'm just being metaphorical. Encasement, confinement, of something they were afraid of. Something new and unheard of on the Acele. Of like, this is some old world shit the Ubies had heard about. I thought the best way to deal with it was to build a church surrounding it to contain it. I don't know, and it's not something they properly understood either, what it does, but it's what this Soona person is looking for and trying to measure. It'll be fruitless though. She won't be able to measure it. People like that always want to measure everything. All those things they really can't.
The wood creaks as a gale blows by. Outside, dust particles fall through the darkness, settling down on the age-bleached floorboards. The structure does not feel particularly durable.
No, it's pretty fucking unsound if you ask me. They should have built a club for anodic music around it instead. Anodic music will definitely contain whatever we're dealing with. And if it can't, well... Seems to be the trend around here, doesn't it? You can't measure shit like this. It's not like... substance. Like a concentric ring spreading out. The struggling villages, and that is what caused the communards to fail in defending the beachhead. Yeah, a lot of failure has gone down around here. I don't know, maybe, maybe not. It's not a thing we can answer, Copman. Even I have limits. I'm a limited size person. Maybe you can figure things out, Copman. I think we got on a good level here. The signs are syncing up well. It's a miracle of carpentry. Dead bodies carved into total shapes. Now it can be something more. I don't. Fuck her giving me the evil eye. No wonder. We have to get rid of it. Dismantle it. Can't dance with a giant mass murderer looking at ya. Not a good look for the club.
Mellow, man, mellow. No one's a mass murderer. This is a house of love. Mass murder on the floor.
There is. She is a party repellent and must be taken down before we can begin partying in here.
The speed freak looks the same way. It is dark there in the back of the church. For a moment, what a strange choice of words. Caustic, overflowing with negativity. That can't be healthy. What's happening here? Why do you keep coming back to this window? Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't come back to this anymore. Stop talking about it, please.
I don't say much anything as a carpenter anymore. They tried to make me into a reckoner and a leveller. Made me a bit manic, you know. I regret the time I dedicated to that profession and that worker collective. I say things more as a member of the hardcore side dance community these days. The material knowledge is mega though. Guild shit. Teaches independence. That's right. The first settlers built it, plus 6 more like it, on the coast here. Was one of the first things they did. Must have been really scared of something, but I understand. Alone on an uninhabited archipelago, forced to face themselves and nature. Pre-industrial quantities of solitude, the sea, perhaps something more fundamental.
He means something paranatural.
I would want to build a safe place for myself and my own as well. Maybe they were unable to face the nature of the world, perishing. A cop who's into building critique. Okay then, this is folk DeLoreanism, lawmongerer. It's a subset of early DeLorean architecture. Art of core. Total. Everything between an ancient concrete cathedral and a glass cube is DeLoreanism. This is just an homespun version of it. Folksy stuff. Early mass production. They made thousands like this. Does that help you out? Like that woman there. Vertical, thin, white. A false image of grandeur. The source of the system is up there. You're at the bottom. They really dug that power vertical. Like to show off large and intricate structures. Arches, spires, put you down with them. They were really into painting everything white too. Virginal shit, you know. Marriage shit. Virtue and tyranny. Stands to reason it used to be white on the outside, before the sea wind took all the paint off.
Year after year, flake after flake, whitewashed clean, then covered in green moss, slowly peeled by the wind. Your skin crawls from the
dead bodies of perennial plants. Sigma functions have left this place. It's a good thing we came along. The spiritual collapse has been total. I saw some piglets suckling their dead mother. Have you heard this one, cop man? After a short while, they shuddered and went away. They had sensed that she could no longer see them, and that she wasn't like them anymore. What they loved in their mother weren't her body, but whatever it was that made her body live. End of quote. This is an high-quality carcass. The power of anodic beats and hard bass is needed to reanimate it. It never was. A 3,000-year-old regime of history, built by hundreds of generations of self-appointed intellectuals. It's false to the core.
The way he says it, the force in false core, is invested with 20 kilotons of disgust.
Anodic dance music. Regular dance music wasn't hard enough. And yes, I do.
You know what this kind of stuff goes well with. Your pleasure response was more like, just wondering if he has any.
Hard to say, cop man. Signs in here are distinctly wild. Gonna take a while before everything's properly synced. I did get to talk to the crab man though. Anyway, he's been giving me kind of a psychic rundown of this place. Dude's seen some crazy shit, but he's actually a lot like us. The man picks up on stuff, and he knows a lot about the church. I got a lot to learn from him. Good thing you didn't squash him. They're hardcore. They're just clothes. It's just a style, you know, normal hard style. Anyone can wear it. Suspicious people are esoteric people. We don't go around spilling everything to Johnny Law. They don't call me Noid for nothing. It took us setting out for this whole enterprise to get our signs synced. It's short for paranoid. A reasonable question. Say I get hurt. I want to make sure it never happens again. So I analyse the situation. Exercise caution. Caution is suspicion. It'd be easier to list stuff I'm not suspicious of. I'm not suspicious of sound and colour. Mechanics and chemistry also have a trueness about them. Most anything else deceives. Wants to steal your life away.
This is a good, dangerous line of questioning. You should prod him on.
I don't have a top 10 list of things I'm most suspicious of, but if I had one, the left-right complex would be number 1. Number 2 would be their sole accomplishment, the pig-wheat paradigm.
Something is off here. You feel like it should be the other way around.
No, politics is an inert complex of daily corruption and inane think pieces. The real paradigm is economic, and it concerns pig and wheat. This is where the innovation happens. It's only a theory, but I suspect they're breeding a pig-wheat hybrid. Probably in Grad. It's our only shit. We should make better use of not being animals or cereal grain ourselves. Yes, having food is means to an end, but the left never talks about the end, only the means. Caps are likewise suckers, constantly sleepless in worry. I prefer not to. Both ask the wrong questions. Any spark of light from either one is accidental. Their combined movement's only concern is producing enough pig and wheat for everyone. The end goal of humanity. The original mistake was assuming that words have more being than bodies. That's what led us astray, far from our true lives, but we may yet find a way back.
Whatever this true life is, you feel it's the real centerpiece of this mythology. His eyes flicker.
A life is true if it's free from fear, an internal division among oneself. And others, mankind has seeds of greatness in it. A germinal will come, a return to trueness. It will be hardcore. Beats and bright lights to shatter falsehoods. Nerve impulses for the collective body. We are very much alike in basic structure. An hard enough beat would awaken everyone to a truer calling. In unity.
Just like that. The speed freak is right in your face. His eyes burning. His comrades look on worriedly. The young man is dead serious about this. Rejection of the right-left axis. Emphasis on unity. Appreciation of some primordial mode of being. What does that remind you of?
Nationalism, militarism, racism, and emphasis on a leader character are totally absent in hardcore.
He picks up a wrench and scratches his head with it, unaroused by fascism.
Utmost dedication, thoughts from the spinal cord, is a potent superlative as well.
The term also signifies certain varieties of pornography, that depict penetration, just so you know.
Egghead usually has a better concept of the hardcore. He just really likes saying hardcore.
Hardcore!
Maybe you're being too specific about it. Try consulting with your spinal cord. Many non-Occidental cultures share a beat at their art. Thus, they are closer to true, hardcore life. There's just never been enough of them, and they had to rely on some extremely basic percussion. Oh yeah, sure thing.
Aggressive, monotonous, but also somehow sacrum, primitive, yet futuristic, like a machine man. Nothing exists but the here and now. All
Yeah, it's all set up, man. Can you already imagine 1,000 people in here? 10,000! Ecstatic vibrations, totally transcendent. And I've finished setting up the new compressor too. Now the only thing left to do is the name of the club. Will you do the honours, detective?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't build a club, and I wouldn't name it either.
An underground place with no name? Sounds like something the Crabman would say.
We're not going with anything the Crabman would say.
Why not? The Crabman has ideas, Acele. Ideas from another level of consciousness.
I don't care. I don't like the Crabman, and I don't like his ideas. His ideas are spooky. Next, please.
I don't.
Good. We have too many opinions anyway.
The name. Everything I managed to come up with sounds just wrong.
Andre's overthinking it.
Yes, you should do it, detective. It would be good for the signs.
Noid's right. You've helped us so much. It's the right thing to do.
Yakukata! Yakukata! The place to be!
Yeko Qatar, the zone of ecological catastrophe. That's too morbid, Egg. Got anything else?
Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega!
No, it has to be bigger than hardcore. Yes, it has to be even bigger than hardcore to the mega. It has to be bigger than the scene.
How about something simple? Like the club?
Too modern and too ironic. We don't want ironic, we want real. Real and true and beautiful. Like a morning after the rave.
The amnesia.
Like the... I can't remember the name of the club, Amnesia.
Amnesia!
It's not amnesia, guys. You have? Well, what's the name?
Like that DeLorean word for the world, you mean? Elysium.
But Disco Elysium? Isn't it wacky? Disco's kind of gone, isn't it?
The past is the future, but the future is dead!
No, it's beautiful. Beautiful and brave. Like we want it to be.
And short. And memorable.
It's settled then. Everyone welcome to Disco Elysium.
The wind brings some snow in from the broken gallery. It wraps you in its embrace, cold and luminous. Andre breaks into frenzied dance-like motion to celebrate the name. Someone turns up the beat. You should go with the flow. Join in on the experience. It feels good. It feels right. But what is this? What is this thing that Andre is doing with his limbs?
I'm dancing!
That soft core gyrating is supposed to be dancing?
Yes, my man!
talk? What is there to talk about if you can express yourself with moves? Audio waves thump against your ribcage. The speaker setup makes everything sound much better, but there's a noticeable lack of something. You close your eyes and dream of the shapes your body should form to bring this strange music into life. For now, such ferocity of motion is beyond you.
But just imagine the moves you could pull to this futuristic beat.
Puts a grin on your face just to think about it. Even a failed attempt gets the juices flowing and repairs some of the damage done by battles lost. If you up the dose and truly dance, who knows what will happen? Salvation.
Goodbye, officer.
Is there something here that would indicate a sniper used this place as a nest for taking the shot? Just some urban detritus, a bottle, and a dilapidated old comms tower. In the distance you can hear the breakers roar.
I don't see it, Lieutenant W. Freighter. I don't see a person take a shot here and hit something there, in the whirling in rags.
There, 1.2 kilometers over the cold water of the bay, blue from the distance and the air, you see the smallest rectangle, barely visible. A glowing light on the third floor of the Whirling in Rags. With binoculars, you would see a young woman's shape move behind the glass, her limbs long and slender, smoking, drinking, being happy and elated, without you. Because you're here, freezing in the wind, aren't you? Doing your detective work.
Those? Smoking Acele and who favors Tumutiri to Astra or Joanne? Cigarette butts are everywhere. This is a common brand for all men.
Still, you felt it was important enough to make a mental note. That means something. You didn't pay attention to any of the other cigarette butts on the coast.
To warm his hands before pulling the trigger? Perhaps, but anyone could have made this. The coast is specked with fires this time of year. Truthfully, this seems like a very poor choice to take a 1.2 kilometer rifle shot from. Visibility is awful. There's water vapor everywhere. I think we can rule out biddable prime, was it?
There's some tear. There's nothing else.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality? The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality.
Yes. Also, I think we've had enough excitement for today. We do have a case to attend to.
His voice is low, but firm. All she can say is...
Of course, Lieutenant. Let's try something else. I don't think your colleague would appreciate that. He has already been so patient with this whole exercise. Let's continue with something else, all right?
But she wants to tell you. You could sneak back later, when he's not around, unless you can convince him to step aside. Good idea. Just ask him. He won't...
Fine.
See? What can he do? You're a grown man.
Are you sure you're sure? Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the Aceles. It is the interacelary mass. Acele is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7. Mundi, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde. An oceanic Acele. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear. Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness. Oh, it is so difficult for us.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged. It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible. No, detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Acele.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
Yes. An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the Pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the Pale is called porch collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see. Extensively. Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Who says and who argues?
The logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue. It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
No, Lieutenant Dubois. I'm entreprenetic business class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories. Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
You should ask the Pale driver about this. See what she says. That poor woman must have stories to tell, like you wouldn't imagine.
Up to my gills, officer. Entreprenetics. is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of Grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
They had not traveled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian super-E-Solar. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years. Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later. Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely, then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping. What do you think, Detective? Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists. Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Off we go. You see the hanged man's mouth open.
One and all. They say Pale is death, but for the universe.
Why should we just leave, and the world get left behind?
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything? Beyond curious. Tell me, what do you think of the Pale? You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then... I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile...
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
You have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
Good. You have not passed out from it. Perhaps I worried for nothing. Are we still on the reality lowdown, or should we do actual police work now?
Good luck, detectives.
what is it? Yes, what is it?
You don't have to. You already have. A long time ago. These thoughts formed in you somewhere, in a long-forgotten discussion, behind a kitchen table, in the evening light, drinking coffee and smoking, with a friend and a woman. She was there too. Her hair smelled of shampoo and she was smoking.
What? But Pale isn't here. We're thousands of kilometers from the edge.
She looks up into the darkness under the nave, then back at you.
Then what is that?
It's nothing. No, it's less than nothing. No.
Then the Pale is... But the gradient, it clearly hasn't started yet. We're here, and the Pale is not. I understand. A theory of the Pale where instead of an outer ocean, it metastasizes. Like a cancer or a mold. According to this, how long... And information, causing data losses in the East Insulindian front. Have you considered why it's formed in a church? And also when or how it might start growing, or if it has other effects, in addition to sound and data?
An intellectual hunger fills her now, casting fear aside.
I also have a question, since we are piling them on. How do you know this? I'm not doubting you. I'm simply curious as to how a detective of the RCM
knows how to think this.
An amateur anthropomedic police officer. I'd like to say I've heard stranger things, but I'm not sure. This is a hell of a guess, however. Well worded, I might add.
Yes, it is very interesting. But I wouldn't say you know. This is a guess. One that's going to have to be proved by anthroponetic scientists. Of course! A pine wood sarcophagus! Or a containment facility of some kind, built by the first settlers. I have considered the same. The bad news is, there were 7 pinewood churches built in the first decade of provincial settlement. Most of them were burnt down during the revolution, or repurposed before, during the suzerain. I'm not saying all of them have one in them, but...
Some of them might. A black grain hanging in the air.
You think the presence of that puncture has somehow influenced the outcome of events here?
Even say software development.
She already made up her mind when she heard it. Some kind of great and uncaring force had to play a part. It wasn't only them.
I told the producers we need to go and move to a normal office building with amenities. But no, the artists like the milieu, the writers like the history. I told them. You mean play Sans and the Dicemaker? There was almost no one left when we packed up. Then go tell her.
She falls silent. The wind blows in through the hole in the stained glass window, cold and moist.
I'm going to leave that out. But the rest, some of this I can use to start to explain this to the rest of the team. Maybe I'll sound mad, but...
Man, you will certainly sound mad.
One more thing. Maybe a club for anodic music isn't the worst thing you can erect around this particular point in space.
Yeah! Once the light is on in the universe, it will never go out!
Thank you, Egghead. Let's leave it at that, shall we? We have an anthropogenic detection to perform in this district.
The creepy woman! We were wondering about that when we worked there, but I had completely forgotten about it ever since. It must be anthroponetic crosstalk, the one you get in radios and long-distance calls. Now it makes sense, with the pail right on the doorstep.
Incredible. This would also explain why we get it on the police radio all the time.
It's quite common, actually. When the signal gets routed through Pale, all kinds of irregularities take place. You may hear snippets of someone else's conversation, or the voice of your former lover, or an echo of an event that took place 100 years ago. Pale is a shroud of memories, and it doesn't really distinguish to whom those memories belong to. You could hear anything. Anytime.
The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath, flowing through it. In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay. Why? Good, good, yes. Cold spells. So basically your hangover is telling you she's down there? So, how do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically.
Finally, my time to shine.
Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
There has to be a way to use brute force. Climbing sounds unsafe. Brute force is safe. Look around and find something to break if the ladder fails. A rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. Some of the rungs are missing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground, and you're 180? Not to mention that the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. What if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder? Astral projection. Be open-minded about this.
Teleportation is not a thing. This really has nothing to do with adventure. We are oh yes, it could hurt a lot.
The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. On second thought, maybe teleportation isn't a thing, because you're just standing there squeezing your buttocks and nothing is happening. The lieutenant looks at you with that "I know you're thinking the stupid thing" look as you grow tired of clenching your buttocks and give up.
Hello. Isn't this a fine morning? Alternative? I don't even have a mainstream way in, I'm afraid, although... There's a sewage pipe there. Maybe that does something? Sorry, I can't help more.
Pipes can be broken with force.
How to climb that ladder, you say? I do know that Lomantangs used sticks to climb battlements. There's even a special technique for that. Then there's also the method of climbing that the ancient Ilmarans used to get into the huts of their enemies. From an evolutionary point of view, you could see this building as a logical conclusion to the more traditional hut. In this case, I suggest looking into the Zeolite Invisibles class. The word refers to their remarkable ability to traverse any environment in the most efficient way possible. There's this excellent investigative piece of journalism by... Great. Great to hear that.
Inspiration can go a long way in physical endeavors. You should try it again now.
Sure. What's on your mind? But of course...
The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. Zoot, zap, pow, crinkle! It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Bam! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
I just saw you climb the ladder. You just climbed it like a regular person.
The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear,
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring with a backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
Could this have been the killer's hideout? And this narrow window, the point of origin of the shot that killed the mercenary? This does look like an embrasure, a slit made for shooting out of. Outside the window, the day is clear, and as mild as can be in early spring. It's a good place to hide, but doesn't look like anyone has stayed here in a while. No, it's not. No matter how you crane your neck, you can't see the whole of the whirling in rags, and certainly not the relevant segment of the top floor. A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. The plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spider web in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand, grains sticking to the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder. This hat is so soft, so warm, it wraps around your head, and your mind tingles with all manner of socio-economic theory. Kraz Mazov would have worn this Yushenka. Mazov knew where to cook those thoughts. That's why it bears a Mazovian logo. Glory to the revolution, comrade. Whether you like it or not, wearing this hat has made you more communist. Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
The doors seem to be on rails, but they've gotten jammed. You grab a side and put some strength into prying it open. With the help of your partner, the two metal panels slide open.
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that. After you climbed up to the roof, you mean? There's a maintenance entrance under the boardwalk. It's next to a drain pipe, possibly a storm drain. It was easy to miss before.
He's quite proud of himself.
Yes. It's cool to risk your life climbing rickety ladders. Anyway, let's investigate these passages.